can hear me. I haven't done a live in a little bit, and I had a few moments to myself, so I thought I'd kind of tag in and see what I could do, honestly. Honestly, it's been so long since I've done a live stream that the interface has changed a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and call this a comic library check-in. This is my way of just kind of saying hi. I thought I'd show a couple things I've been reading recently. We've had some changes in how I store some of my books. I currently have a Kallax here in my closet, and I'm running out of storage. So I actually have stacks of books here on the floor. Hello, I see some people trickling in. But yeah, I thought for this live stream, I would just go for a couple minutes. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay. I'm trying a different thing for live audio, and I just want to make sure you can hear me okay. So awesome. Thanks for saying hi, everyone. Appreciate that. So as we go, feel free to ask a couple questions. I'll try. Oh, awesome. All good on audio. Really, thank you for the confirmation there, Matthew. Appreciate that. So I'm going to go over a couple things I've read recently, but I'm happy to answer a couple questions. I'm not sure how long I'll live stream for, maybe 10 or 20 minutes as time allows. Okay, cool. I'd love to hear all the sound check going okay. Like I said, trying out a new live setup here. But right now, this is one of the books I finished recently. This is Conan the Barbarian, the original comics omnibus from Heroic Signature, Titan Comics. I did review the volume 1 on the channel not too long ago. This continues the Roy Thomas run on the title. Pretty epic stuff here. I know Marvel released this when they had the licensing rights, but when Titan got a hold of it, they've been reprinting these bad boys, which has been fun. So I am going to be starting Volume 3 soon. Would love to hear if we have any Conan the Barbarian fans watching at the moment. I know it's a very popular property. Another one I finally finished. I'm really excited to talk about this. The New Mutants, Omnibus Volume 1. If people have been following this channel for a long time, this is a book I've had in my collection for years now, and I have slowly, and I cannot stress that word enough, slowly been making my way through over the last couple years. This is a massive book. For those that don't know, this was the first X-Men spin-off book. So out of the pages of Uncanny X-Men, we have the New Mutants. Really, really fun. It's kind of like the junior X-Men class, but really a solid book. I am hoping to review that, even though that book is currently out of print, so hopefully there'll be people interested in that. I really had a blast reading through that. Before I go through to my next current read, let's go ahead and look at the chat. We got a couple questions. Can you show us your favorite Batman story? What a great question. I'm a huge Batman fan. Unfortunately, I don't have Batman on the shelves near me. Batman stories, I think some of my go-to favorites are the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, New 52 era. So I have those currently in the omnibus editions. Really love those stories. I really love Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's Batman The Long Halloween. Frank Miller's Batman Year One will always be a favorite, just to name a few. What's your favorite comic? Great question here from Faceless Comics. I really love Daredevil by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. That's probably my favorite comic run of all time that I've read. Another really big comic that's one of my favorites is actually Lock and Key by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez from IDW. Huge fans of both of those runs. So sick. This is Claremont. I haven't dabbled in New Mutants. Yeah, let's go back to this real quick. Yeah, this is Chris Claremont. He spun off for this title. I know Bill Sienkiewicz shows up on art as we get further into it. But yeah, this is really cool too. Now that I finished this, I can finally go into the volume 2. But here's some of the creators. So writers, we have Chris Claremont, Bill Mantlo, Louise Simonson, pencilers, Frank Miller, Brent Anderson, Bob Nickliodes, Paul Smith, Sal Buscema, Ron Friends, John Buscema, John Romita Jr., Bill Sienkiewicz, and more. So yeah, stacked lineup here. Honestly, this is a huge underrated gem. For fans of Claremont's X-Men or just kind of the mutants in general, I would consider this kind of a must-read, honestly. So hopefully Marvel will reprint again soon. Some more questions here, and then we can go on to the next book here. What do you think of All-Star Superman? I'm about to read it. Don't spoil it. I will not spoil it. I will say that is a book that is given a ton of, I don't want to say hype. It's a very, very beloved title. I know many people that it's their favorite Superman story, period, bar none. For me, it's never quite lived up to the hype, but I do really enjoy that story. I think the art from Frank Quitely is really wonderful, and I think it's a really accessible and fun Morrison work. So I give it 2 thumbs up, even if it's not my favorite Superman story. Hope you enjoy it. Let's see what else we got. I've read the first 3 volumes of Bendis and Maleev's Daredevil, and it's one of my favorite books from Marvel I've read this year. Yeah, absolutely. Love that Bendis run clearly. And I would also shout out the run immediately following that, which is the Ed Brubaker run. It honestly continues where Bendis leaves off in a pretty remarkable way. We recommend both of those. The transition is seamless, just absolutely seamless in my mind. Okay. All right. Benjamin's in the chat. Hi, Ben. Okay. Tell us about Absolute Batman. I did review Absolute Batman on the channel not too long ago. I don't have it near me, but Absolute Batman takes place in another DC universe. They have a couple titles there, and it's a really fun, accessible refresh on some of your main DC heroes. And I think Absolute Batman so far is starting pretty strong. Okay, while we're waiting for more questions in the chat, I'm going to go ahead into my next recent read. I did do an overview for this recently. This is the recently released Dawn of X Omnibus from Marvel Comics, Volume 1, collecting the X-Men 2019 series, issues 1 through 7. Then we got X-Force, 1 through 8, Marauders. I mean, you can read the rest here. But it's essentially the first handful of issues from a lot of the debut kind of Krakoa-era titles. This book takes place directly after the events of House of X, Powers of 10 by Jonathan Hickman, which kind of teed up this Krakoa era. Really like this book. I had a lot of these series in the oversized hardcover formats as they were coming out. I know a lot of people have been wanting Krakoa in Omnibus, and it's kind of tricky to map, right? A lot of people see a lot of different titles, and it can be overwhelming because everything's happening for the mutants in real time across all the books. So if you're reading by title or by author, you're limited in scope with what is happening on Krakoa. Having a book like this mapped how it is, you get a couple issues here, a couple issues there, and you get kind of a broader framework and context for Krakoa. And yeah, I think it's really fun. I did just finish it out. I only had to read the New Mutants issues and the Fallen Angels miniseries. Never had the opportunity to read those, so read through those, kind of reviewed the rest that I've already read, and of course enjoyed the extras. Did do an overview, but do plan to do a full review sometime in the future as able. Okay, JJ said hi. Hi, JJ. Okay, what else do we got here? The Dawn of X looks sick. Is it a good starting point for a noob? Pretty great question there. I will say for the Dawn of X Omnibus, the only thing I'd recommend before this is House of X Powers of 10. It's maybe a 12-issue maxi series collecting House of X and Powers of 10. And it basically refreshes the status quo for the X-Men without getting into too many spoilers. Essentially, by the end of it, the X-Men have their own nation state on the island of Krakoa, and all mutants are given general amnesty. Some are brought back from the dead, and you now have the mutants as a kind of world superpower. And that is kind of the climate in which all of Dawn of X happens. So House of X, Powers of 10, in addition to being one of my favorite modern X-Men stories of all time, a great standalone event, it also tees off what becomes the framework and context for all the happenings in Dawn of X. Can you read it by itself? Yeah, sure. But I recommend House of X, Powers of 10, which is getting a reprint for the oversized hardcover, I believe, in November. So something to think about. Okay, that comes out in November. Yep. Sorry, you beat me to it. Yeah, I think the reprint for the hardcover comes out in November. There was a paperback edition. That's actually the edition I have currently, though I'm hoping to upgrade. But that paperback, I'm not sure if that's still in print or not. But yeah, you can find a trade paperback as well. Highly recommend that story. An excellent, excellent book. What's your favorite Spider-Man story? Now, that is a good question, too. Let's see if I can bring the camera up. I have a handful of Spider-Man omnibuses up there. Spider-Man is a character I love. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. He's been on my channel quite a bit. Sorry for the shake there. My favorite Spider-Man stories, great question. One of which is Spider-Man Blue by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, the team behind Batman The Long Halloween, which I mentioned earlier in the video. I'm also a fan of just the early era Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and then some of the other creators on Amazing Spider-Man. Honestly, the debut handful of issues run of Spider-Man I think are still so strong. It's one of the best Silver Age comic titles in my opinion. I'm also a huge fan of the JMS era, which you can see right there. That's volume 2. The John Michael Straczynski era of Spider-Man I think is absolutely incredible. One of my favorite modern runs. And Ultimate Spider-Man by Bendis and Mark Bagley I think is fantastic. The current Ultimate Spider-Man by Hickman has also been really fun. Yeah, I know since the omnibuses have come out, I've started to get into kind of the 90s era Spidey as well. And I have to say that has also been a blast. I think we were absolutely spoiled by Spider-Man artists at the time. And yeah, really, really fun. Let's see, what else do we got? Gosh, I love all the questions. Thank you. What's your favorite Image comic? Ooh, I do like Image comics. What is my favorite? I feel like doing this. I'm gonna leave some out. Oh no, my fast answer is Invincible. Invincible is my favorite Image comic. I've had the pleasure of reading all the way through. Absolutely incredible. Easy answer for me on that one. How many Dawn of X Omnis do you think there will be? You know, I heard someone speculate on another channel or in a comment section, so of course, super legitimate there. But I heard someone say they think about a dozen, so I have no idea. That's been my mental benchmark, is maybe a dozen. I don't know if we're going to get a re-release of House of X Powers of 10 in oversized hardcover format, like they're doing House of X Powers of 10. X of Swords is this big Krakoa era X-Men crossover. And that had its own oversized hardcover and paperback collection. So I don't know if we're going to get that, or if the Dawn of X Omnibus 3 will be mostly X of Swords. I really don't know how they're going to do it. But some people are saying around a dozen. I imagine that's roughly what we're looking at, give or take. So we'll just kind of see on that. Gosh, great questions coming in. Thanks for everyone who's joining. How do you like the Superior Spider-Man run? Yes, so that's back up here. Over there, Superior Spider-Man. So that's actually a book I am still reading. That's by Dan Slott. The basic premise of Superior Spider-Man, for those that don't know, is Dr. Otto Octavius, Doc Ock, basically has his consciousness put into the body of Peter Parker, and he vows to become a superior kind of Spider-Man. So we have a really fun, kind of out-of-body, fun premise there. I am still reading that omnibus and that run, actually. What I've read so far has been a lot of fun. I think it's been really incredible. The art is pretty solid as well, and it's a really cool little self-contained ecosystem. That run is not overlong, and that's the first main run of Superior. I know that Marvel is releasing a Superior Spider-Man Returns omnibus, I think sometime in the new year. I don't have any idea what that content's about, though, but if someone in the chat's read that era, let me know. I'm curious. I have volume 1 of the JMS Spider-Man run in the Epic Collection format, and I'm planning to reading it next year. Awesome. I hope you like it, Tristan. Let me know what you think of that JMS run. What are some good Daredevil runs? Honestly, starting with Kevin Smith, pretty much everything in the modern era, I think, has been an incredible Daredevil run. My short list of favorites, though, I do love Bendis. Can't talk about Daredevil without talking about Frank Miller, of course. Brubaker, Zdarsky, Charles Soule was pretty solid, but Mark Waid is really high up there for me. Honestly, like all of them. I really like them all. My short list, though, is Bendis, Waid, and then probably Miller and Zdarsky. Okay, what cover of blue and gold did you go with? I went with the standard edition cover. I really do like it quite a bit. Okay, I just bought my first omnibus. It was Predator Original Years 1. What do you think about that? You know what? I haven't read the Predator omnibus. I've been actually really curious about that one. You'll have to let me know what you think. Okay, let's see. I see PBC, that's Panel Bound Comics, is the channel sponsor. Any chance you could go through their publisher run and give Marvel DC Omnibus recommendations for the sale? Maybe for good starting points, shorter series standalones. Honestly, that is an awesome recommendation. Yeah, for those that don't know, Panel Bound Comics, the once Organic Price Books, is the channel sponsor. I talk about this a lot, but essentially, if you use my discount code at checkout, the comic book report, all one word, you can save $2 off of your order. Obviously, if you use that code, I do get a commission, but I appreciate it. They do have a huge sale right now. They are doing like 50% off a lot of omnibuses, and there's some pretty good deals there. I think offhand, I'll have to look into some of the ones that are there. I know one I was eyeballing that I'm actually hoping to pick up is Thunderbolts Uncaged omnibus, where Luke Cage is leading the Thunderbolts. I've always wanted to read that run, so hopefully that's good. I can start thinking about maybe a short or something that recommends some things I see on the sale, if that would be beneficial for any of you. Okay, let's see. You're a man and a champion. Thank you, Benjamin. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. Someone answered the Superior Spider-Man Returns question I had. The omnibus features tie-ins, issues of Superior Spider-Man like Avenging Spider-Man, the 2019 Superior run, and the 2023 short run on Superior Spider-Man. Awesome. Thank you, Tristan. Yeah, I'm super curious about that. Haven't read any of that material yet. I like the standard blue and gold better. Also, yes, that X-Men omnibus looks so crisp. I really like the other Dawn of X comic, but it's sold so fast. Yeah, honestly, I feel like the Marvel Comics omnibus printing run has been pretty relatively small. I feel like demand's been really high, which hopefully means good for sales, but it's tough if we can't pre-order because some of these things go out of stock really fast. Okay, so I think this is the last book I finished up recently in the omnibus format I wanted to talk about. This is Spider-Man Gang War. I did get the direct market Ryan Stegman cover, which I love. There's a standard edition cover too, though, that's pretty striking. I think John Romita Jr. There's the spine. And there's the back, what it collects. So this is a modern Spider-Man event omnibus. I've heard mixed to negative reviews about this book, just candidly. And some part of me honestly heard that and really wanted to read it for myself. And I will say, I don't know if it's because I lowered my expectation, but I thought this omnibus was really fun. Does it have a lot of long-term repercussions on Spider-Man or anyone involved in this franchise? No, not really. I feel like you could excise this whole event and feel like not even a ripple. But that doesn't mean that the ride here wasn't enjoyable. I had a really great time with this. This is actually a book that Panel Bound Comics, channel sponsors, sent my way. So I'm really excited to review this for them. Really liked it. I do want to show Under the Dust Jacket, though. So one of the reasons I like it is I think it has one of the coolest Under the Dust Jacket art on board. Look at that. It's just so cool. The black and yellow just really pop. Love the color scheme, and that's something that's retained throughout a lot of the book. I mean, you can see like the yellow hue of this. And anyway, this is a book that I feel like gets a lot of mixed reviews even already, but I thought it was a really fun little modern event. And I think a lot of people are overlooking it. Is it the best Spider-Man story I've ever read? No. But was it a lot of fun? Honestly, yeah. Really, really cool. And I love the black and yellow. I want more omnibuses that have this color scheme. I think it's so sharp, so striking on the bookcase. Admittedly, it does punch out a bit on a lot of the other Spider-Man books. I don't think I have any other in yellow, but I dig it. I really do. Okay, what else do we got? Let's go back to the comments here. Probably got a couple more minutes, guys. This will be a shorter live stream today, but I appreciate everyone who was able to make it out. This was fun. Like I said, I haven't done a live stream in a while. You'll have to let me know if you'd like to see more of this in the future. Okay. I've been going back and forth on getting No Man's Land, the trio of omnibuses, but I feel like it's intimidating to get into. I'll admit, so No Man's Land, the Batman books, in case you're wondering, it has 3 omnibuses, The Road to No Man's Land 1 and 2, and I'll admit that's a huge blind spot for me with Batman. I have never read it. I know it's all about kind of this big event, has a lot of Batman tie-ins, a lot of the Bat family. I've heard pretty good things. I've heard some of the omnibuses in that trio are better than others. But like yourself, I've kind of been intimidated. I haven't committed. I haven't picked those up yet. Again, I know a lot of people that like it, but I haven't personally read it yet. Okay, show your face. Okay, I'll be honest, the setup I have right now is a little bit prohibitive for that. That's why I haven't been standing up to get more books. I'm kind of trapped behind this little mount right now. But my face is on the channel. I think I did a short recently talking about a PBC sale, so you can see it if you want. What else do we got in the questions here? Do you have all the Ultimate Spider-Man omnibus books? I do. Yes, I do. Also, do you have Predator versus Spider-Man? No, I don't have the Predator versus Spider-Man miniseries. I think Benjamin Percy wrote that, if I'm not mistaken. I loved his Predator versus Wolverine miniseries, though. I thought that was excellent. I showcased that on the channel a little bit. For Ultimate Spider-Man, you can't really see it because I believe I put it behind there because I double stacked these for space, but you can see some of the Ultimate Spider-Man once we get to Miles Morales there. Behind it, I have the 4 Ultimate Spider-Man by Bendis along with the Death of Ultimate Spider-Man omnibus. And I'm still considering getting Volume 5, which I think comes out in November. I know that double dips a lot with the Death of Spider-Man omnibus, or Ultimate Spider-Man. Okay. All right, time to age myself. Those are comic books, not the size of my old comic books. Yes, yeah. So these are comic book collected editions. This in particular is called an omnibus. For those that don't know, it's essentially oversized. Gosh, I wish I had a single issue next to me. Again, I'm a little trapped with my rig here. I've actually been thinking about doing more like new collected edition, new reader friendly kind of content. Maybe I should. But yeah, your standard edition trim size for like a single issue or a floppy is like over there. So oversized omnibus editions, really, really crisp. Great way to see the art too. But yeah, they are comic books. So you can see boop, boop, boop. But yeah, love the oversized format. And this isn't even the biggest format. There are so many larger formats these days. It's kind of wild. Really, really love it. Under the Dust Jacket looks so sick. Yeah, for Gang War, honestly, so good with that black and yellow. Do more live streams, appreciate that. Do one again next week or something. Yeah, I'll think about what I can do. I know personally I have some stuff coming up, so I've tried to prioritize the pre-recorded, but I had maybe 20 minutes or so today, so I'm like, oh, let's just do it real quick. Blue and Gold Omnibus is so tempting. It looks so cool, but I heard the story only okay. What are your thoughts? Okay, so for me, I'm just reading the Blue and Gold material. Jim Lee's my favorite comic book artist. Love Claremont. For some reason, I have just missed this period, and it's one of the most iconic periods in X-Men history, referring to the X-Men Blue and Gold Omnibus. I will say it's pretty out of print. You can find it on a couple sites right now, but I think that they're starting to sell out. So if you want Blue and Gold, I recommend trying to get it soon. Also considering Thor by Jason Aaron and Straczynski. So I am reading both of those actually concurrently. I'm reading the JMS Thor. I got that as a gift for Christmas, I believe, last year. I'm closer to the end of that one. I've been making my way through a very, very fun run. It's kind of a return of the modern Thor in many ways, which I liked. And then the run by Jason Aaron across 2 omnibuses, 3 if you include the War of the Realms, I think it's called. But anyway, that run's really fun. Starts with the Gore material, which they kind of based the Love and Thunder movie on. But yeah, read it by itself. That story is pretty epic. Let's see. I've only heard very high praise for Blue and Gold. Yeah, same here. Honestly, the X-Men Blue and Gold era, I've really just heard amazing things. And so far, it's really fun, although I'm very, very new in it. Okay, how much does all the books you have worth? How much are they all worth? That's a really good question. Honestly, I haven't had it evaluated. But I've taken over a decade to collect most of this. This is birthday presents or kind of fun money. And, I buy and sell with some regularity. But yeah, this stuff can get kind of expensive. Is the question good for a newbie? I'm not sure what question we're talking about there. Maybe how much is it all worth? But yeah, I always recommend a budget. If you haven't seen, I did a video called My Secret Origin, where I talked about my history with comic book collecting up until around when I started the channel. I started collecting and reading comics for myself around 2011, 2012, around there. Started collecting, and I had kind of an addictive thing going on, and I didn't budget, I didn't plan well, and I kind of just made poor choices financially. And so I quit the game, so to speak. I sold most, if not all, my collection, other than a couple here and there. And I thought I was done. I thought I was done reading comics. I stopped for maybe 5 or 6 years. And then slowly I started reading them again. And my deal was if I wanted this in my life, I had to do it more healthily. I had to do it sticking to a budget. And for the most part, I've done that. And I consistently do that. And for me personally, that's the way I can keep this as a fun hobby and not something that becomes something more. Okay, the omnibus question. Yeah, I think that's a good question for a newbie, kind of like the different formats for collected editions. I know there's people that just read single issues, maybe aren't aware of how many different collected editions exist now. And honestly, there's so many different formats. I think I need to start making some newer collected edition friendly kind of content. I try to do that, but maybe it's time. Okay, before I go ahead and end our live stream, we're getting to the end here. I would love to hear any last minute questions. I hope you've enjoyed this. Like I said, just kind of a fun way to check in on everyone. I haven't done live stream in a long time. And yeah, thought it would be neat. Give you some peeks at some other omnibus reviews that might be coming on the channel. Fun versus an obsession. Yeah, absolutely. That distinction is so important. And I think for me, doing it within a budget kind of keeps the guardrails on. And, I've been able to enjoy the hobby now versus, making ever increasingly poor choices in many ways. Have you read the new Spawn Gunslinger comics? No, I have not. I'm not a huge Spawn fan. I read some of the original stuff. Some of the art is really great, but just not the property for me. Okay, any last minute questions, and then I'll go ahead and see you later. Favorite Flash run that I've completed is by Jeff Johns, but honorable mention to Mark Waid's run. I've really enjoyed what I've read of that thus far. Yeah, really, really fun stuff. Yeah, you can see the Mark Waid Flash Omnibus. I'll give a shot at that. I did a review of that, gosh, maybe a year or so ago now. I need to get the volume 2 while it's still in print. I think they have a volume 3 they need to. Favorite Hulk and Captain America. Another great set of questions here. Admittedly, I'm not a huge Hulk fan. I don't know if I haven't clicked quite yet. I know I haven't read a lot of his iconic eras. So I don't really have a favorite Hulk run because I don't even think I've completed one. My favorite Hulk work I've read, though, is Hulk Gray by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. I know that's a creative team I like. I brought him up a couple times on the video. Captain America, my easy answer is the run by Ed Brubaker. It's collected across 5 omnibus editions. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I actually might even have it right there. Yep. Okay, well, I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But thanks, everyone, for joining this kind of impromptu live stream. I hope you've enjoyed it, or if you're catching it on the replay, thanks for stopping by. All right, have a good weekend, everyone.